Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay has found its way to the internet. Now, this isn't a total surprise considering how leaky Ubisoft is. They've leaked the last, 8 Assassin's Creed games. So it's not too big of a surprise. Now, this is a bit of a new level for them considering that it is a full 30-minute segment of gameplay. But today I wanted to kind of go over things that stuck out to me in the gameplay. Now, I'm not going to post the actual gameplay in this video. I'm not going to show off any of that because I don't want it to get copyright struck by Ubisoft. That would not be good for a small channel like mine. So if you want to see that, you can find it anywhere on the internet, really. I'm sure that it's not that hard to find. I think most people have seen it already, especially if you're watching this video. But I do want to go over the gameplay. I want to share my takeaways from it, things that look good, things that look bad, and just give my overall thoughts on how this looks. So before we start, remember that if you do enjoy today's video, you leave it a nice, thick, and juicy like. And as always, if you do enjoy this type of content, make sure you subscribe to see more videos just like this one. Now, I also cover games like Ghost of Tsushima, which is actually about to come out, and Battlefield, which the last game died recently. But that regardless, if you want to see content on those games as well, then make sure you subscribe to see those videos. So let's talk about this Valhalla gameplay. We got 30 minutes to kind of go over it here. And there's a lot to kind of unpack. There's some things that are good, some things that are bad, some things that are potentially really, really cool, but we don't really get to see a lot of. So let's talk about it. So the first thing I think everyone notices is that this build is very buggy. It's not very polished, and that's okay because as far as I've been hearing, this is from January 2020. It's a pretty early build. I don't know if this is going to be the one that we see at the Ubisoft Forward event, but it is quite buggy. There's some animations that don't look like they're quite finished. Things like fire not setting people on fire at certain times. There's a lot of issues as far as that goes, but again, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that because it is an older build. We don't know exactly how old it is even. It could be older than January. It could be newer than January. We don't know. Hopefully we see something a bit smoother than this at the Ubisoft Forward event because that would be kind of disappointing if we didn't. As far as other things go, actual gameplay mechanics, actual things like that we get to see, the new Eagle Vision looks really cool. It looks like a return to more classic Eagle Vision, but it's more of like a pulse. It's sort of like a combination of Unity's Eagle Pulse and the kind of very short, quick bursts that we had in Odyssey and Origins. So it's not all the way back to that regular Eagle Vision, but it is definitely an upgrade over what it has been, at least in my opinion. Now, we do have our little Raven drone still, so that mechanic is back, so that'll be very similar to Origins and Odyssey in that regard. But like I said, I do like seeing that it highlights enemies, highlights friendlies, and kind of gives a different skin over the world, I guess you could call it, where it's that more traditional Eagle Vision. I like that a lot. Now, another thing that I really liked is the cinematic camera on the horses. Now, we have this in games like Red Dead Redemption 2. I really like that mechanic because Ubisoft does do a great job with making their worlds feel really beautiful. So the cinematic camera, I think, is a nice added feature, just especially when you're riding around a lot. Gives you a reason to not fast travel from point to point. You actually want to take in the world because even in this build, even though it's 720p, really early build, the world did look really, really beautiful, and I'm really excited to see a polished version of it in full 4K. Now, another thing I want to talk about as far as like the gameplay mechanics and everything go is a lot of the animations, especially the final kill animations. They look like they've been built from the ground up, which is good. They're not something that's copy and paste from previous games. Odyssey recycled a lot of the animations that Origins had as far as finishers go. These look like they're pretty original. Another thing that I liked a lot is that the abilities are much more grounded in reality. It's not something fantastical because we just use a piece of Eden as an excuse to turn our hero into a demigod. It's nothing like that. It's actual things set in reality as an Assassin's Creed game should be, and I really, really like that. Now, the axe thing, there's a lot of moments where she was throwing like 4 or 5 axes out of her pocket. I don't know how believable that'll be because I don't see 4 or 5 axes hanging off of her at all times, but you know, it could just be due to the low fidelity I couldn't see them, or maybe it's just some you don't really see, or that's part of the ability. I don't think it's a big deal. It's still pretty grounded in reality, in my opinion. It's not something ridiculous like shooting one arrow in the air and it coming down is like 50 or teleporting or anything like that. I like the way that the abilities are going. So now, the voice acting is something else that stuck out to me. Now, we've only seen a 30-minute snippet of female Eivor in what could be a 100-plus hour game. So, in most of it, she's not even talking that much. It's really just in a couple of cutscenes. And the voice acting isn't really that great. Now, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because sometimes they do re-record things. And again, this is just kind of like a little snippet, so it's not how it's going to be for the whole game. So maybe it's just is how it is for this one mission and it's better for the rest of the game, but it wasn't all that great in this little segment. It wasn't amazing. Like I said, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because this is an early build. They could have changed things by now, maybe re-recorded some lines. It usually happens. It's not a huge deal, but it wasn't all that great in this particular build. Now, it was good to see the dialogue options. Since we are talking about the voice acting, it was good to see that the dialogue options are how Darby described them. They are tied more to the character and who they are. They're not bipolar sociopath options where it's like, I'll be your friend or I'm gonna murder you. That doesn't always make a lot of sense when you have a preset character. So thanks, Darby, for understanding how to write a game. It's a big improvement. Now, the one thing that did really get my attention is when we started the raid and we're on the boat and you're going towards the castle. The weather simulations look fantastic. I absolutely loved how it looked, how it kind of set up that you're on a raid. It felt really, really awesome, and this is just in a really early build. As gruff as some of the animations and everything are, this part looked just fantastic. I'm really excited to get a good look at some of these raids because this was awesome. Now, granted, we've only seen one fort in this kind of gameplay, so it very well could be copy and paste everywhere, but this fort looked very distinct, it looked very unique, and it looked like it is kind of its own specific location, like it's going to be very specific to it to raid this fort. It's not gonna be like you see the same fort twice like in the previous two games. Sometimes it would get a little copy and paste with that, but this one looked like it had some distinctness to it and how it is built and how you're actually going to have to attack it. I really like that. Granted, we haven't seen any other forts, so we don't know for sure, but the way it's built feels like it's very specific to this raid, like it's very specific to this part of the world. It's not something that we're going to see over and over again. Another thing is the enemies are not insane damage sponges. That was really, really annoying in Odyssey. Now, one thing I hope we do see is more consistent damage predictions, because when you are trying to do like a quick chain of assassinations when you're taking out guards, because a lot of times when you are playing a stealth game, you want to eliminate the element of randomness. If you're trying to play fast and get through a certain area quickly and take out several guards, you want to eliminate those elements of randomness. In games like Origins and Odyssey, it's very difficult to go on those little kill chains because a lot of the times with some of these enemies, you don't know exactly how much damage you're going to do, and you don't know which one is going to do less damage just for no real reason at all. That's one of the reasons I really don't like the lack of an automatic one-hit kill with the hidden blade. It eliminates those really fun and satisfying kill chains that you can do when you are playing fast in a stealth fashion. So hopefully we see those things come back. That's one of the reasons I was happy to see that these enemies aren't damage sponges. That may be a good thing when it comes back to actually seeing some stealth gameplay. Hopefully we see that at the Ubisoft Forward event, but I do think that is a very important thing that they add back into the game. I just want those one-hit kills. Now, I know that they kind of hinted at, if you time it right, you can get a one-hit kill. That's fine. If I can master that and it's a consistent skill that I can learn with each enemy type, and I can time it so that I do automatically get a one-hit kill, that's fine. If it adds a little bit of depth, I guess, in a way, but it still kind of leaves that element of randomness in my opinion. But we'll just see how it works once we get that stealth gameplay. Like I said, we haven't seen that yet, but hopefully the damage sponges being gone means that this is gone as well. Now, the music was awesome. The open world looked beautiful. The combat looks more weighty. Those are kind of the basic things I liked. I really liked the new skill tree. It looks like you're looking at constellations, and as you go through different parts of the skill tree, you kind of see different constellations. I really liked that. It looked really beautiful. It was unique. It's different from any of the other games, really any other game that I've played, not just other Assassin's Creed games. It looked really, really cool. It looked like there's going to be a lot to it, and some of the branches kind of intertwine with each other, so you can have more hybrid builds to get those different skills down. I'm really excited to see more. Now, as far as bad things, I think that the dodging looked a little weird in the combat. I thought it looked like, as weighty as the combat and the fighting was, the dodging looked like quick little slides, and I would have rather it been something like The Witcher where you kind of step around, you just kind of quickly jog away or something like that. It's not just like a little slide skip. Maybe that'll change, maybe we'll add more of an animation to that, but I wasn't totally a fan of the dodge. When you have this kind of weighty, more realistic fighting style, these little quick skip dodges, they just don't look right. It's a little jarring in a way. But other than that, things like the parkour looked like Origins 2.0. You can upgrade each individual piece of armor, so it looks like with the power leveling, if you like a certain piece of armor, you can upgrade it as your power goes up. So if you like a certain piece of chest armor, maybe you can upgrade that with yourself as you go through the game, so you don't have to constantly be looting for different armor. I really like that because that means you can really sit and invest in a certain set of armor throughout the game and really make it your own in a way, and you can customize Eivor to look in the way that you want him or her to look, and you don't have to worry about any kind of, oh, well, I gotta go find some new loot, this has better stats, but it's ugly, things along those lines. I think that's a really nice feature to have, and it works well within the progression system. It also incentivizes you to be able to upgrade the armor pieces that you do like, so exploring and finding resources now has more meaning if you want to keep up those armor pieces. So I'm really excited to see more of this game. I want to see the official gameplay. I want to see the features that they want to show off, because again, this is out of context. This is an early build of the game. We don't know exactly what they want to show off, or what they're going to show off, or if the game is going to look more polished when we see it at Ubisoft Forward. Let's hope that it does, because this was a really rough build. So depending on how old it is, we should see something a little more polished, a little bit smoother, some better animations. Again, I'm excited for this game. I can't wait to see what they show us at Ubisoft Forward. I hope you guys are as well. If you have seen the gameplay, let me know your thoughts down below. I'm very interested to see how the community is responding to this, what you guys think of it, and I will see you guys in the next video.